In the world of online dating, you think you're meeting a kindred spirit, someone who shares your interests, your values, your passions. But sometimes, the person on the other side of the screen isn't who they say they are. You get drawn in by their charm, their words, their promises. And before you know it, you're planning to meet them in person, imagining what it could be like to finally share your life with someone who seems perfect. But for Jason, meeting Erica wasn't the dream he thought it would be. It started with late-night messages, flirting, and laughter. Every text made him feel closer to her. She was everything he had been looking for, until the day they met. What was meant to be a simple, innocent encounter quickly turned into something Jason couldn't have possibly prepared for. What happens when the person you've been falling for turns out to be someone entirely different? Before we dive deeper, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss any of our upcoming videos. Who was Erica really? Jason had fallen for the woman behind the profile, believing she was everything he wanted. But as the days passed, strange things began to happen. She stopped responding to messages as quickly. She became more distant, more guarded. Jason started to wonder, was the woman he had been talking to online the same one he would meet in person? What was the truth behind the carefully crafted persona she had shared with him for months? Why had Erica deceived him? Was this just a harmless lie to make their connection seem perfect? Or was there something darker lurking beneath the surface? What if the person he had trusted with his heart wasn't just hiding a few secrets, but hiding a whole life? And most importantly, was their meeting planned, or was it all part of a twisted game, carefully orchestrated to manipulate him? The deeper Jason dug, the more he realized he was in too deep, but he couldn't figure out how to get out. Before Jason met Erica, he was just another man seeking companionship, something he had longed for since his last serious relationship ended. He was in his late 40s, well established in his career, and had everything most people would consider a success except the love he craved. He had become accustomed to the quiet nights alone, the dinners for one, the weekends spent without the companionship he once took for granted. He had tried meeting people the traditional way, but nothing seemed to stick. Then Erica appeared. Her profile was captivating. She was everything he wanted, confident, charming, and beautiful. Her photos were polished and her messages were engaging. They connected instantly, their conversations flowing with ease. She seemed like the perfect match. Jason felt he had finally found someone he could be excited about. But as their connection deepened, little things started to feel off. Erica's schedule was strange, her responses sometimes delayed for days. And while their conversations continued to be full of promises and excitement, something in the back of Jason's mind began to stir. Was he seeing the real Erica, or was this someone playing a dangerous game? Jason didn't know yet, but what he didn't realize was that Erica had been living a life far from what she had portrayed. Behind the perfect profile and enticing words, Erica was someone completely different, a person with secrets that could change everything. It was finally time. Jason had been waiting for this moment for months, countless texts, endless late-night calls, and long conversations that felt so real. He had planned the evening meticulously, hoping to make it as perfect as the connection they had shared online. Dinner at a cozy restaurant, a bottle of wine to celebrate their first in-person meeting, and a surprise gift, a simple but thoughtful gesture to show her how much he had been looking forward to this. When Erica walked through the door, Jason's heart raced with anticipation. But as she made her way toward him, something felt off. The woman standing before him looked nothing like the photos she had sent. The smile that had once been so warm and inviting now seemed forced. Her eyes, those eyes that had captivated him for so long, held a coldness that didn't match the woman he had imagined. He tried to brush it off, thinking it was just nerves, but the longer they stood there, the more the disconnect grew. Jason stood up, extending his hand, trying to offer a reassuring smile, but inside he was already questioning everything. "Erica, it's so great to finally meet you," he said, trying to hide the growing unease creeping up his spine. She barely responded with more than a stiff handshake, and when she sat down, the conversation immediately felt stilted. There was no warmth, no connection, and when he looked closer, he realized there was something different about her demeanor, something unsettling. This wasn't the woman he had been speaking to for the last few months. The silence between them stretched longer than expected, and Jason's mind raced. Was it just a bad match, or was there something far more complicated at play? Why wasn't she anything like her online persona? As the evening wore on, Jason's shock deepened. This wasn't just a case of bad lighting or an off day. Something was terribly wrong. Every question he had been ignoring during their online conversations now flooded his mind. Who was Erica really? Had everything been a lie? The more he looked at her, the more disconnected he felt from the person sitting across from him. What started as excitement had quickly turned into a sense of dread. But the most chilling part, Erica didn't seem to notice how awkward everything had become. Was this all part of her game? Or was she hiding something far darker beneath the surface? After the awkward meeting, Jason couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. The Erica he had met in person was nothing like the woman he'd been conversing with for months. He reached out to her, thinking maybe it was just an off night, hoping to make sense of the strange disconnect between their online interactions and reality. He sent a message, then another and another. But as he waited for her response, the silence was deafening. Erica, the charming, engaging woman he'd grown fond of, had suddenly gone quiet. Days passed and Jason's frustration grew. His messages went unanswered. Then, just when he thought things might be salvageable, Erica blocked him on social media. The woman who had once flooded his inbox with texts, videos, and calls had now completely disappeared from his online world. No explanation, no apology, just a blank screen. Jason couldn't let it go. He couldn't understand how someone could vanish so completely, especially after all they had shared. But he was determined to find answers. He hired a private investigator to track Erica down. What they found shocked him beyond belief. The investigator began by digging into her social media profiles, her online presence, her phone records. It didn't take long to uncover a web of deceit. Fake names, false addresses, altered images, everything about Erica's profile had been carefully crafted to deceive him. Jason's head spun as he learned more. Erica's past was a puzzle with missing pieces, and the deeper they dug, the more the lies seemed to multiply. She wasn't just some ordinary woman seeking love online. She had been operating under multiple fake identities, weaving an intricate web of stories and personas to trap unsuspecting men like him. Every lead he followed seemed to end in a dead end. Calls to her number led to voicemail. The social media accounts she had used were suddenly gone or locked. The investigators' attempts to track down her real identity were met with frustration, and Jason was left feeling helpless. What had he stumbled into? Was this all just a series of coincidences, or was Erica part of something much bigger? Jason couldn't stop now. The woman he thought he knew was a mystery he needed to solve. But as he chased after the truth, he couldn't shake the feeling that the answers he was uncovering were just the tip of an iceberg, one that could shatter everything he thought he knew about the woman he had trusted. Jason's investigation into Erica had finally begun to crack open a door he never expected to find. What he uncovered sent shockwaves through his entire perception of their relationship. Erica wasn't who she said she was. She wasn't even named Erica. Her real name, as the private investigator dug deeper, was something entirely different. Her entire identity, from the photos she had sent to the personal details she shared, had been fabricated. Jason's heart sank as he learned that Erica was just one of many personas she used across various online platforms. But it didn't stop there. Erica wasn't just playing a game of false identities. She was running a full-blown scam. The investigator unearthed evidence that Erica had been using a network of fake profiles to prey on emotionally vulnerable men, just like Jason. These profiles weren't created out of boredom or a desire for attention. They were a carefully orchestrated ploy to manipulate and steal money. Jason couldn't believe it. The woman who had seemed so genuine, the woman he had talked to for months, who he had opened up to, was nothing more than a carefully crafted lie. The photos she had sent were stolen from other people's accounts, manipulated and doctored to create the perfect image. The messages, too, those long, heartfelt exchanges they'd shared, had been part of a calculated web of deceit. The investigator continued to unravel the threads of Erica's digital existence, revealing even more disturbing truths. The email chains that had been exchanged between Erica and other men showed a pattern of emotional manipulation, promises of love, and, eventually, requests for money. Erica's stories were consistent, rehearsed, designed to create sympathy and get what she wanted. But the most shocking revelation came when Jason learned that Erica wasn't working alone. She was part of a larger group, a ring of scammers, each playing different roles in different online profiles, targeting lonely men looking for connection. Jason was left stunned. How could he have missed it? How had he been so blind to the red flags? He felt betrayed, not just by Erica, but by himself. The trust he had placed in her, the connection he thought they had, was nothing more than a manipulation. As Jason pieced everything together, he realized that Erica had used him as a pawn in a much bigger game. But who was really behind it all? Was Erica the mastermind, or was she simply another player in this dangerous web of deceit? The answers Jason needed were just beyond reach, but one thing was clear. His world had been turned upside down, and he was no longer just the victim of a failed online romance. He was caught in a much darker scheme, one that was far from over. As Jason continued to dig deeper into Erica's web of deceit, he discovered something far more shocking than he could have ever imagined. The scam, the manipulation, the false personas, none of it had been orchestrated by Erica alone. The real mastermind, the person behind the entire operation, was someone much closer to Jason than he could have ever fathomed. It wasn't just a stranger playing a game from behind a screen. No, the true culprit was someone Jason trusted, someone he had known for years. His best friend, Mike, had been involved in orchestrating the entire scam. Mike, the one person Jason had confided in, laughed with, and shared everything with, had been pretending to be Erica in one of the fake profiles all along. The revelation hit Jason like a freight train. The person he had considered a friend, someone he had trusted with his darkest thoughts and deepest feelings, had betrayed him in the worst possible way. Mike had been manipulating Jason from the very start, helping Erica craft the lies, build the stories, and keep the deception going. Jason had been played not only by Erica, but by someone he had thought would always have his back. The betrayal was unfathomable. The hurt Jason felt wasn't just because of Erica's lies. It was because Mike, the man who had always stood by him, had been orchestrating the entire deception from the shadows. Jason felt like the ground beneath him had completely shifted. What had started as a journey for love had turned into a nightmare of betrayal. With the truth now exposed, Jason confronted Mike. He needed answers. Mike's expression, once full of friendly familiarity, now seemed hollow. The man Jason had known was gone, replaced by someone he couldn't recognize. "I never thought it would go this far," Mike confessed, his voice filled with regret. "But once it started, I couldn't stop. Erica, she was the one who had the plan. I just got caught up in it. I didn't mean for you to get hurt, Jason. But it was too late to turn back." Jason stood in stunned silence, his mind racing as the weight of the betrayal sank in. The friendship, the years they'd spent together, all of it felt like a lie now. He didn't know what was worse, being deceived by Erica, or having someone he trusted most be the one to pull the strings behind the scenes. With a deep breath, Jason finally spoke. "You ruined everything. I thought you were my friend, Mike. How could you do this?" Mike's eyes dropped to the floor. "I'm sorry, man. I never wanted to hurt you, but I was in too deep. I never thought you'd find out." Jason's heart pounded in his chest as he walked away. There was no going back from this. His friendship with Mike, the trust he had placed in him, was shattered beyond repair. What had once been a deep connection was now a painful reminder of just how easily trust could be broken. The twist was not just that Erica had deceived him, but that someone who was supposed to be his closest ally had played him for a fool. The betrayal had come from within, and now Jason had to face the painful reality that sometimes the people we trust the most can be the ones who hurt us the deepest. For Jason, this was the moment of truth. He had lost trust in both Erica and Mike, but what he gained from this devastating experience was a valuable lesson in vigilance, self-worth, and the dangers of placing too much trust in others. He would never again let anyone, whether a stranger or a friend, have so much power over his heart. The story didn't end with Erica's betrayal. It ended with Jason taking control of his life again, learning from the past, and moving forward stronger and wiser. As for Mike and Erica, they were nothing more than painful chapters in a story Jason was now ready to leave behind. Before we wrap up, what do you think? Would you have fallen for the same trap Jason did? How can we protect ourselves from the dangers of online dating scams? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss another shocking twist in our upcoming videos. Trust can be a fragile thing, but it's something we can learn to navigate better with each experience. Stay tuned for more real-life stories that will leave you questioning everything.